All right, gather round, children. 'Tis time for another merry affair of the football follies and Foxborough failures. Yes, we are here. Professors Hart and Fitzgerald, your old pals, Nick Fitzy Stevens and Andy Jumbo Hart, back with another Six Rings and football things. Brought to you by, of course, our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel, make every moment more. Sign up today. Give yourself the gift that keeps on giving. And of course, that gift would be betting against me each and every week on Six Rings and football things. Whatever I bet, just bet the opposite. You'll make a mint, and it will be truly a happy holiday season for one and all. And hey, take advantage of FanDuel's amazing offers on same game parlays, no sweat first bets, and more. That's fanduel.com/six rings.
Quick aside, I was at a Christmas party on Saturday night and
Uh-huh.
had a friend who was doing some live mobile gambling on his phone as we were hanging around, drinking, shooting the poo, raving about the FanDuel app and how much better the FanDuel app is than any other app out there. It's
It
quick,
is the easiest
easiest.
interface.
Yep.
So good.
And I'm not making this up. This is not a, hey,
Nope.
let's toss a bone to our sponsor because the season blows. No, this is actual. I'm telling you, his
He
name is
signed up.
Joe. I'm
Yep.
not giving you his last name, but his name is Joe. If you want to fact check this, and he was raving about how he much
Okay.
preferred.
Last name rhymes with Mustiglione. Okay, go on.
No, but maybe him too. He could be gambling. He's
And how
earned
about
it in his
that?
retirement.
I joined FanDuel thanks to the Six Rings. How
But
about it?
yeah, this is a guy that has dabbled with other apps and just raved about the FanDuel being the best app.
Listen, I like a lot of people. You can take advantage of those interfaces and their free offers and promos, and then you just keep coming back to the FanDuel because it makes the most sense. It's the easiest, and that's the best place to bet against Fitzy because that's how you do if you want to win. Because I'm not very good at it. However, speaking of teams that you would like to see win, but they're not very good at it, your Patriots.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the Panthers. Wait, what?
No, we were talking before the podcast started about the lowly attendance of the Panthers home game that they won 9-7 against the Atlanta Falcons, a team still in contention for a playoff spot, but low and woe be the NFC South now. Though Baker Mayfield did put on one hell of a performance at Lambeau Field this weekend with a perfect passer rating in their 34-20 defeat of the Packers. But we are here to talk Patriots because it's a Patriot-centric podcast.
Why'd you say it like that, Eeyore?
I guess I just have to talk Pats, even though it's more fun to talk about other teams in the
What?
NFL.
You went head to head and slugged it out with Patrick Mahomes. You
For a
got the number
half.
2 pick in the draft. Like,
Yeah.
you're looking up, baby.
I know. We were lamenting pre-podcast about just getting through this grind the final couple of weeks. Like coming up, it should have been I'm sure when the schedule was put together and then released back in the spring, they thought Broncos, Patriots, Christmas Eve, that'll be a blast. That's going to have playoff implications. Sean Payton back head coaching in the NFL against Bill Belichick. This will be a clash of some great coaches, Super Bowl champs. No, it is a team that may be able to find their way into the final wild card spot, though, again, with their defense stumbling like it did last week against Detroit, probably not against a team that is now in contention for the first overall draft pick as well. So we got that going for us, which is nice, I guess. But yeah, we got a real slog here. We got a couple weeks until significant decisions and or moves are made that will add some juice back to the pod. So we can just kind of go back over what we saw this weekend and how curious it is that Bailey Zappi is truly a tale of two QBs once again in each and every week. He's amazing in the first half. I mean, it's a relative form of amazing, but still pretty impressive, we'll say, nonetheless. And then in the second half, whether it's coaching or QB or the defense sort of catches on the same way sometimes certain starting pitchers are good for 5 or 6 innings, once, twice through the lineup, but then they see what you got to offer. They figure out how to defend you accordingly. And that's that, because it was 14-10 at the half. The Patriots played well, and the Chiefs, I'm sure, probably thought, hey, these guys are still swinging. They're going to go down fighting. That's great. And then the second half was just, boy, it was boring, Andy.
It was. It went from entertaining to boring. And I want to thank Bailey Zappi, actually, because over the last couple of weeks, he's clarified something to me that I've never quite understood. And
Ooh.
that is the phrase, hey, that guy's not half bad. And I've never really understood what that phrase meant. until I watched Bailey Zappi the last couple of weeks, and I realized that guy is half bad. He's half bad when he performs, and the other half he's pretty good. And
Yeah.
I'm being serious. I never like it's one of those phrases that you use. Hey, that guy's not half bad, and you're like, what is that? So is he 67% bad? Is he
Mhm.
47%? And now I see Bailey Zappi, and it's remarkable. And you're right. We kind of, because it's the quarterback in the NFL, he'll be painted as the reason. First,
Mhm.
second half, Pittsburgh, great. Pittsburgh suck. Chiefs, good. Chiefs suck. It's everybody. Like, I think there's adjustments made and not made by everybody. You certainly, it could be an example of, Bill O'Brien praise for game plan, first half, first drives, things of that nature. And then he's not making the adjustments at halftime that maybe the defense is. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. But this was a perfect example. Like, Bailey Zappi was worse than his numbers in the second half.
Mhm.
Tried
Oh,
to
yeah.
give the ball to the Chiefs every time he had it. Now, he only succeeded the first time, but basically the first 4 drives of the second half, he tried to give it back to Patrick Mahomes immediately like it was a hot potato. And you're also seeing what a lot of us saw and fans pushed back against from the practice field. Bailey Zappi's not that good. God bless him, love him, mean it. Seems like a really nice kid, brings energy, effort, attitude, the things I like. It proves that at the NFL level, the things I coach into my youth teams, not enough. Sometimes you just got to be good. You got to be better. Energy, effort, and attitude, not enough to get by in the National Football League.
Mhm.
He's like, and I'm not even talking about the hellacious throw to Willie Gay, where he can't make that throw. An NFL quarterback has to throw it away.
What was he thinking? Upon rewatch
No
last
idea.
night, that was just like a terrible. That was almost one where you would think, like, is this kind of like when Belichick told Castle to sail it into the stands so they could get the Jags in the first round? Like, that was a bad play.
And I keep joking. The guy wears red that you threw it to. Like, it's not somehow he blended into. This wasn't one of those weird color rushes where you couldn't tell if it was your team's bodies in the way or his team.
Like
Like,
all navy blue versus white and red. Like
red.
the difference couldn't be more stark between
Like,
the two. And he
he's
just zipped it
colorblind.
into him.
Yeah, it's
God.
terrible. But even, that was a horrific throw. There was that one throw where he rolled out and kind of stepped up and had Pop Douglas wide open and lobbed it a good 7 yards over his head. Like,
Mhm.
throws you just can't miss if you're going to be an NFL quarterback. And that's the reality. That was my column for Monday. And I know people are like, oh, thanks for stating the obvious. But we've said all
What are
year,
we supposed to say at this point? My God,
yeah,
I mean,
if you say something that's not obvious, they get mad at you for like reaching and stretching and trying to do too much and clickbaiting. If you just analyze sort of the obvious, then they get mad at you for stating the obvious. And they is you people and your people on Twitter and
there we
the
go.
internet.
All right.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
people.
just Terp, it was 8 minutes into the grades podcast against the Chiefs that we got the you people
But
in. Thank you.
haven't we said for a couple years that the
Mhm.
season can be a success if you find out one way or the other if you have a franchise quarterback? Well, you have found out you do not have a starting quarter. Forget franchise. You don't have a starting quarterback. And
No.
so we've put to bed Mac Island. It is now uninhabited.
Mhm.
We've cured
Deserted.
Zappy Fever. That's
Yep.
over. Will
Actually,
Greer is gone. Malik is gone. You don't have a
uh-huh.
quarterback. We
No,
know you
and
need a
we do have
quarterback.
no, they did pick up a new one, and we'll get to that in the back leg of the
No,
podcast
I
in the
don't give
Pat
a rat's
Spurry.
ass if you're the
I
best Canadian.
What do you got against the best Canadian? We'll get to that a little bit later because people may be unfamiliar with
Not like
who.
being the Jamaican bobsled team.
Yeah, I guess sort of, kind of. Well, I mean, isn't the CF a couple people have come from the CFL and made headway down in the NFL. We'll get to that in a few minutes as well. No, the new actually, I believe somebody said to me on Monday that Bailey Zappi, it's not Zappy hour anymore. It's the Zappy half hour because he's good for one half a game. So Zappy hour is Zappy half hour. That's what you get.
I had the theory. Why don't we start start Zappy and play
Mhm.
Mac? Max
Yeah.
sucks in the first half, gets pulled every game he plays.
Yep.
Zappy stinks in the second half, whether he comes in for garbage time or started the game. So 2-quarterback system.
Would that Chesova check his kid? Okay, now as we look toward, and it's not officially time to preview Patriots Broncos, and I know people are just bated breath, pins and needles. They're like, I got to finish my shopping. I got a ton of wrapping to do, and I got holiday parties out the wazoo, but I got to get Fitzy and Hart's Patriots Broncos. Sorry, if we again, We're trying to have fun with this because this is not necessarily the reality that we envisioned, but here
Plus
we
they
are, and
make
we're
us.
making do with the best of it. Yes.
Plus they make us do this. I know.
Plus they may.
Actually, if you're listening, I want to personally thank you. So Bill, Joe, Tom, we're going to start individually thanking people because I do realize a lot of people have shut it down. They don't care about the Patriots anymore.
Nope.
Talk to me when the season's over, when Belichick either is or
Uh-huh.
isn't back. Talk to me when
Exactly.
you know which draft pick you have, whether it's 2 or 3 or 1. There's a lot of people that are saying what you just said. I got to do wrapping. I got to decorate. I got a party to prep for, blah, blah, blah. No room for these hideous Patriots in my. So if you're listening to this, thank you.
Yeah, and if you would like, you know what? If you would like a shout out, if you would like us to acknowledge the fact that you have continued to listen to and stuck with the Six Rings and Football Things podcast, post game, and wherever Hart and I do our thing across the wide and broad spectrum of WEEI and Odyssey Sports, if you would like a shout out, we would be more than happy to give you one. So, shoot us a DM, hit us up on the tweet machine. We'll mention you in the Broncos Patriots preview or at our year end podcast before the titillating finish to 2023 of Patriots at the Buffalo Williams. And anyone who thought that maybe Buffalo would have circled the wagons to pack it in and the Pats could have squeezed out a win in that one, I think we'll be in for a wicked surprise. But Andy, I will say this. I would be much more interested in watching Patriots Broncos if we knew Belichick was going to come out and say, yeah, we're going to play 2 quarterbacks. It's Zappy first half, Max second. I would watch that because you might actually get 60 minutes of decent to above average quarterback play from the Patriots. And wouldn't it be funny if after all this time, that ended up being the best laid plans? Also, that's ridiculous.
Also, it could go the other way and they both could just suck.
Yeah, any which way, fine. I'll be there for the morbid curiosity, the rubbernecking, and the train wreck theater.
And who cares? It'll be Christmas Eve. You have so much to celebrate that has nothing to do with the Patriots that night. But anyway,
when you go to bed after the game, it's Christmas morning, so it's going to be great no matter what.
Exactly.
All right, let's hand out some grades quickly from the affair last Sunday in Foxborough, which again was not a which was not a sellout once again. Although Tay-Tay was in the house and there was much more screaming for Taylor Swift, as I said on the post-game show as well. When they finally showed her on the big screen, and it's a very big screen, there was a big scream for her on the big screen. All the girls in the house were cheering and hooting and hollering, and all of the cooked, drunk, and completely sideways sauce dads in the house were all booing. At least Gillette's going to Gillette, and, Pats fans will Pats fans. So there you go. All right, let's hand out some grades, Andy. As always in the grading podcast, in review of the previous Patriots game, we go offense, defense, special teams, quarterback, and coach. Probably no need to belabor any of these. Let's begin with the offense. I gave them a C-.
Same, C-. We know the negatives. We know the turnovers. We know the third down failures, things of that nature. So it's this cheery holiday season. I want to spin it positive a little bit. My guy Kevin Harris finally got his opportunity and rumbled into the end zone.
That was a bit of a rumble stop. That was a rumble, like powerhouse run there for the big guy,
creating a big question in New England. What's more impressive, his quads or his biceps? And I would say both are very impressive. So good for him. I like to see those guys get a little something for the effort, as they say. Hunter Henry deserves a little something for the effort. Got the absolute living poop kicked out of him, but caught 6 balls in the first half, caught touchdown, had another touchdown call back.
Should have had 2. Yeah, I know.
Yep. I'm a Hunter Henry fan. I don't want to overpay him because he's already overpaid. So if I overpay on an overpay, it's going to get ridiculous. I would like to see him back in the future if they can come to some sort of understanding on a proper contract. Although I will say for him, I would go somewhere. Like, go join an offense where
should he go? What would be it like? Yeah, obviously they don't need him in San Francisco. Like, they got a good tight end in Jacksonville, Cleveland, and Joe. They've got they got Knox and Kincaid. They don't need a tight end.
Yeah, but I think he's better. I think
I'll tell you where he would feed. It'd probably be the place that Mike Gesicki calls his former employer, Miami. They need a viable tight end.
I think he should go somewhere where they have receivers, they have a quarterback, and a good complementary weapon like him can just get in where he fits in and be like a high-end role player and have fun and win games and succeed.
Okay, well, let me ask you. This isn't necessarily the topic we thought of, but it's certainly more interesting than grading special teams, which again had a lousy day at the old racetrack. But who we don't know who's coaching next year. We don't know who's calling the shots and who's picking the players. So that's again why we probably haven't seen any extensions or contracts handed out to date. But if you're the Patriots, be you Bill Belichick, Gerard Mayo, Mike Vrabel, or anyone else who coaches the 2024 squad and has a hand in player acquisition and development, would you not prioritize somebody like a Hunter Henry and even look to overpay him a bit more, because you're going to obviously draft a tight end, or at least you should. And then wouldn't you want somebody like Hunter Henry teaching insert name of rookie tight end here how to shake, bake, cook, and get it done in the NFL?
It's a tough one because I think he's overpaid already. So if I overpay on an overpay, now I'm grossly overpaying Hunter Henry, and it is a salary cap world. You do have to figure out what the value is of veteran leadership and hard work and fighting to the finish and the things that he's sort of displayed this year. And I would also say a positive for him is he's shown the ability. It doesn't matter the quarterback, whatever mediocre quarterback you put out there, he'll make some plays. That quarterback will like him. He's a security blanket. So it's a tough one. I'd love to have him on the team, but I don't want to overpay for an overpay because I think you regret that later.
Yeah, you will. And the 3 for 37.5. The funny thing is, it ends up getting compared to other tight ends in the league, but most especially what they paid Jonnu Smith. So he ends up looking like a bargain. And again, his productivity is greater than all the other offensive players they signed in the uncharacteristically aggressive shopping spree of 2021. So yes, it's a bit of an overpay, but yes, he is also a valuable and necessary component. I'd like to see him be kept rather and stick around, but I don't know if he wants to win or chase a ring. He may have to, not may have to. He definitely should go elsewhere. All right, the defense Sunday against the Chiefs, Andy.
Maybe I'm feeling generous. I gave him a B.
Same.
I thought they were competitive. I thought Christian Barmore played really well. I thought the Alex Austin kid thrust into the limelight late due to the J.C. Jackson thing, which we can get into in the Pats Paris segment.
Yeah.
I thought he competed. Jabril Peppers competed. I thought Anthony Jennings, like some of the guys we're used to saying competed. You can't run on this team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had like 120-yard run and still averaged under 3 yards a carry. So the run defense continues to be stout. You had the Marte Mapu interception, which was some pressure from Barmore, and then a really nice physical play from him to take it away, to want it more. The second pick was just Tony blows, and if I were Mahomes, I'd want to kill that guy every time I.
Why not just release him at the? I know the receiver spot is like a position of desperation and need for them, and he does, like as we saw, his speed and his physical gifts.
He's a
when
tease.
used like it's awful. Like he was amazing in the Super Bowl, the punt returns and like getting them the screens. I think he caught a touchdown pass against the Eagles. But God, he's got some of the worst hands I have ever seen in the NFL.
He's an idiot. He seems kind of dumb. Like
he's almost cost. He's cost them 2 games this year.
Yeah, and he wears that stupid snorkel thing outfit, even when it's not really that cold.
Take the yellow. The yellow gloves are doing him no good. Just ditch him.
Obviously not. No. And take the Vaseline off the yellow gloves or whatever the hell's going on there. But no, a solid effort by the defense and the coaches. It's what we've expected. You pretty much held Kelsey in check. You decided you were going to do that. Now, at times it cost you because you kind of had everybody flowing to Kelsey, and they're running that backside screen. I didn't see too many business decisions. There was a couple times I didn't love a couple sellout or lack of sellout efforts, but for the most part, this defense is solid, like it's been all year.
They're gaming each and every that they will always put it of any particular portion of the Patriots that will put forth a representative effort. It will always be the defense, right? And good for them. And that's part of what also will be used if Bill Belichick does want to stick around and coach for a few more years and take part in the rebuild, if you will. That'll be at the top of the resume or the LinkedIn page. The defense kept balling out. The offense, special teams, I just went D.
Same. D.
Wow.
And I'm not even lying. If people want to, if they want to see, it says D right there.
Yeah, you handwrite yours. I can't share my screen. Mostly just launch codes, pornography,
there's porn.
Yeah, I got to it eventually. Exactly.
Okay, so we need to get into this.
But it's a smart grade because your punter didn't have his best day, but still did fine. The young kicker missed another makeable field goal. Brendan Schooler had another penalty. He's got to calm down. They didn't do anything to really help the team win the game. So
And I know the Mike Reeses of the world are, making excuses for Brendan Schooler and didn't look like a hold. Whatever it does, I'm sorry, that unit sucked the life out of this team in two huge plays early. The Ryland missed field goal, which was 41 yards. 41 yards in the NFL is a gimme.
it
My
has
town
to
lost
be.
a Thanksgiving game because a kid kicked a longer field goal than that damn field goal from Chad Ryland, a freaking drafted NFL kicker. So screw you. You can't miss that kick.
But he's now Sunday in the post-game show, you were defending him saying he's a rookie kicker. What do you expect? At this point now, like,
well, I don't want to cut him. I just want to yell at him. Right?
Hey, Terp, put that on our pile of t-shirt ideas. I don't want to cut him. I just want to yell at him.
And then the Schooler thing, too many penalties in general. He's getting a reputation as a penalty machine, and you wiped out a kickoff return. Whether you earned it or not, I don't know, but special teams, you need those sparks. Jalen Reagor, by the way, had a couple nice returns. He had a little spark in the return game there. And then just the overall special teams issue of they have all these freaking dudes, and they rarely make a play on special teams. These special teams only players, and yet special teams is not this massive advantage that it feels like it should be.
No. So on the season, by the way, I'm currently endeavoring to check and compare Chad Ryland to other kickers that made a name for themselves during their time in New England. So on the season, he is 13 for 20 so far, Andy. So he's kicking at a 65% interval. That is not good enough. In his rookie campaign, 1996, Adam Vinatieri, let's see, he was overall 27 for 35, 77%. Yeah, he never dipped below 74% in his time in New England. Chad Ryland, you got to start picking it up because, we're not even going to do the whole Nick Folk has still only missed one kick in Tennessee. It's warmer. It's a whole different game for him down there. But I don't want them to have to go try to get another kicker. You whiffed on Rohrwasser. Folk came in and saved the day for a couple of years. Now Chad Ryland is having a rough rookie season, to say the least. Like, is this going to become a position of need in the offseason as well, Andy? Or are we going to have to go 2 years? I mean, well, but other teams
could become a position of need next season. In the offseason, you should bring in a veteran, a journeyman veteran type, to compete with Chad Ryland, to just, put a little pressure on him, expect him to win the job in the summer, and then cross your fingers and hope he makes the year 2 jump and settles into being a professional kicker who learned from the inconsistencies of a rookie season.
Exactly. And you can just chalk it up to it was a down year for everyone who tried to score the ball in Foxborough. By the way,
patterns, by the way, big score, like things change.
Yes.
Not new to him because
lighthouses, lighthouses, big screens, wind patterns, etc. There's definitely some sort of joke to be made here between the Patriots offense and what's going on in Foxborough right now. A friend of mine just happened to text while we're doing the podcast, unrelated necessarily to what we're discussing right now. He will have no power at his house until Thursday, perhaps.
Oh, lots of those. Mike Giardi would be included in that group.
Oh, yeah. He lives not too far from the stadium as well. So hopefully
they were told Thursday. I don't know what year this is. I don't know why. Like, what are we doing here? It was a little bit of a nor'easter or whatever. It's not like it was a hurricane that blew out the whole East Coast.
No. How was your drive home from the station Sunday night?
Not terrible. Not terrible.
Mine was pretty. I
mean, it was windy and rainy, but
yeah, I went through all 4 seasons.
A-holes. I'm in the high speed lane going 47, jackass.
Yeah, and then you get the Amazon trucks and the FedEx trucks going 75 by you in the right, and they're just spraying water. That's the worst. I'm not sure what's worse, the 18-wheeler that passes by you in the slow lane in a rainstorm, or the jackass with a brand new like Rivian hybrid truck on the other side who has those xenon ultra high beams, and you're like, oh God, I can't see anything.
Yeah, the high beams have become an issue. You can't tell when people have high beams on, then you flash them, they flash you back, they get brighter, and it's like, what the hell?
Right.
Yeah, no. Lights are an issue these days. Good pickup. I don't know.
All right. And this has been old men yell at clouds. This is what you've done to us, Patriots. All right. Moving on to the quarterbacks and the coaching, Andy. I gave young Bailey Zappi in his, I think, 6th start in the NFL, 5th start overall, I believe. I gave him a C-.
I gave him a D for dangerous. Dude's dangerous when he has the ball. He can make plays occasionally, but he is really looking to give it to the other team. We talked about it to start the podcast, first half, second half, the whole thing. He's just not that good. I mean, I don't mean to
No,
pile on or
it's
say it
not his
too
fault.
harshly, like, well, no, but it is his fault. He's not that good. I mean, he is who he is. He's a journeyman backup quarterback, in my opinion. He has shown the ability to play at the NFL level if he's one of the top 70 quarterbacks, let's say, but he's not one of the top 32.
Right.
As the opposite of Cam Newton, there's absolutely 32 better than Bailey Zappi, probably 40 better than Bailey Zappi. And then you start to talk about him when you get in the middlings of the backups. He makes nice throws, and then he makes just frustrating mistakes, and that's who he. But he's a nice guy. Comes to the podium. I like listening to him. I've always said a little bit like Mac. Actually, I think you can actually extend here. Cam Newton. We all said if he was as good a player as his interviews, he'd be a much better quarterback.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mac Jones, I thought this year in particular, grew into a better podium guy, took more
Accountability.
accountability. And now Bailey Zappi. The last three Patriots starting quarterbacks, if they were as good on the field as they are professionals at the podium, they'd be a better football team.
And
But
their
they're
head
not.
coach could probably take a couple notes and cues from his quarterbacks as to how to take accountability and talk to people like they're humans or professionals at the podium. But we digress.
Ain't happening.
Yeah, and listen, you can't. I'm not going to begrudge Bailey Zappi for not being Josh Allen. You are who we are. Like, this isn't Ryan Seacrest and Adam Schefter on the Six Rings and Football Things podcast. It's Fitzy and Hart. We can sometimes play, analyze, discuss, and joke above our pay grade, but we are who we are, and here we are for a reason. I happen to think we're interesting and entertaining more often than not. Sometimes it's accidental, sometimes on purpose. You never know. You may catch a heater every now and again on Six Rings. But I'm not going to say, hey, Bailey Zappi, how come you couldn't put that team that you weren't expecting to be the starting quarterback for on your shoulders and carry them to victory against a possible Super Bowl contender? Everyone continues on a season that we have long since discussed how narrow, how slim, how minuscule the margin for error is when people end up having to try to do more than they should. Mistakes get made, like zipping it into the arms of Willie Gay when you can ill afford a turnover or a mistake to start the second half of a football game that, while it was entertaining for a while, ultimately you lost. And for their long-term prospects, I think it's in the best interest of the football team that they lost it.
Yep.
And finally, Andrew, the coaching.
D. And this time D doesn't mean dangerous. D means defensive, because literally and figuratively, Bill Belichick's a defensive coach. We've learned that over the years. He was a defensive mind for a long time, and he gets very defensive when questioned or when he loses and he's trying to stand. Like, he doesn't do a great job. You know, we've talked a lot about he's never quick to the podium when they lose. It's always, we got to talk to David Andrews and Bailey Zappi and make those guys answer for the team before Bill can set the tone. I don't like that. And, you know, other than the defense, which has been pretty good, and he gets some credit for that. We started with that as the best aspect of this team. And I still think Bill can coach up a defense and find a way to help limit a Mahomes and a Kelsey and do those types of things. But other than that, and I know people are getting more and more frustrated with him. You know, I did my main radio hit on Monday that I do every morning up at the Jab, and they just eviscerated him about being just an unprofessional baby who's been a dink his whole career. And blah, 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 and finally, blah, blah, blah. And I don't disagree. He's been unprofessional. The only thing that's changed is the result, and that has changed the way people accept it. And you people who used to say for years, oh, I love how Bill bats around the media. It's so funny when he screws with people at the no. He was unprofessional then. He's unprofessional now. And I know they'll give you, show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. Well, 3 of the last 4 years, he's been a loser. So I don't know how you want to parse it or describe it, but he creates losing football teams more often than not in recent memory. And, you know, I know there was a comment making the rounds on the internet yesterday. Julian Edelman had an appearance where
I was actually going to bring that up during the Pat's Puri segment. Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I remember when we were really rolling back in the day, Bill said the media is going to turn on me. No one's turning on you. You're a 3-win coach. We're assessing what we see. This isn't personal. If it were personal, more people would have ripped you back then because you treated people like a-holes back then. Now it's just very simple. You can't draft and you can't win. That's not personal. That's not turning on you. That's just do you want me to urinate on me and pretend it's raining? No, you're urinating on me. Like, that's the world we live in. And that's what annoys me. Like, I bet you deep down, Bill thinks people have, quote, turned on him. No.
Turned on. Okay. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Let's hold that and we'll get into that in the second half, because that's come up a lot recently in the will Bill stick around? Do you want Bill to stick around? discussion, fractured debate within Patriots Nation as well. So let's get right to that in the second leg of the podcast. Those are the grades from Patriots Chiefs, everybody. Do you think we were fair? Do you agree, disagree? Give us a holler. Let us know. Of course, it's at Six Rings Pod, at Jumbo Heart, and at Fitzy GFY. All right, second leg of the pod here in the grades, reviews, and aftermath of Patriots losing to the Chiefs, going to 3-11 on the season, still firmly in control of the second overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft. Oh, but had they not beat the Jets or the Bills, and most recently the Steelers, they would be in control of the first overall pick, which means they would get their pick of the litter a few months from now. But they still have a good shot at maybe getting that first overall pick or still getting somebody that they really, 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 really want at number 2 overall. Who will be making that pick? We don't know. Now, speaking of Bill Belichick and his comments about people turning on him one day, before we get into the other stuff like Burt Breer's comments about possible fractures within the ranks of Team Mayo and Team Belichick in the building, which we had heard a little bit about earlier in the season, people like I've gotten a lot of guff from people like, where's your loyalty to Belichick? You wouldn't have, 6 rings without him. How do you not think Bill Belichick is the best coach to coach this team going forward? How about some faith? The man should be able to coach until he what? Okay. You're not being a jerk. We're not turning on Bill Belichick. It's just like, hey, we enjoyed the song and dance, the pony show, and everything else that went on when the team was winning a lot. And no, we're not going to be the people that are going to be running the big fancy graphics on Fox like Belichick's record with Brady, Belichick's record without Brady. But the facts are the facts. This is now the third losing season in 4 seasons post Tom Brady. It's not exactly like, all right, we'll just slap Judon and Gonzo back in there and wham, this team's going to be 10-7, 11-6 next year. Like, there's holes all over the roster. There's confusion in the locker room. There fractures. You got people tweeting about other players leaving and not being appreciated or coached right. This is a mess that is going to need a lot of cleaning up, Andy, like a lot.
And I've been consistent with this. You people haven't always, but I was a Patriots fan before Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I'll be a Patriots fan long after Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I didn't become a fan in week 2 of 2001 when Brady took over and they started winning. I bawled my eyes out when they lost to the Broncos in 1987. I'm a Patriots fan, whether it's Elvis or Pat Patriot, whatever logo or color scheme or unit, that's
Schaefer,
what I root
Gillette,
for.
Fenway, wherever.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I root for. So my loyalty, and by the way, this includes Robert Kraft. Like, you sometimes say owners are stewards or whatever. That's true. I will be rooting for the Patriots regardless of who the coach, quarterback, owner, GM is, for the most part. I mean, I guess if you did something really drastic and I felt like I couldn't root for a really bad human being or something, but for the most part, I'm a Patriots fan. This isn't about the people there. They come and they go, right? And this was proven when Brady left.
Thank you. Great pick. Great point.
A lot of people rooted for Brady over the Patriots. And now a lot of people are telling me they're rooting for Belichick over the Patriots. Well, you're not a Patriots fan then. I don't know what you're doing, but you're not a Patriots fan. You started in this dynasty, apparently, because there's a lot of people, and I don't know whether those are pink hatters or you people, whatever you want to call that group that chooses the person over the organization. But I'm a Patriots fan. And I was when Andre Tippett was my favorite player. I was when Rob Gronkowski was my favorite player. I will be when insert player's name here that, God, please, there's a Hall of Fame talent coming at some position that I can root for.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers, Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, one of those guys might end up my favorite player for the next generation, but that player will always be under the umbrella of the New England Patriots, just like Bill was under the umbrella. He's not bigger than the Patriots. Robert Kraft is not bigger than the Patriots. Tom Brady is not bigger than the Patriots. I root for the Patriots, and I root for the Patriots to get good again. And from where I sit right now, Bill Belichick is not helping them get good again. Bill Belichick is not helping them succeed. He is hindering their advancement as an organization. So no, I'm not rooting for Bill Belichick. I'm rooting for the Patriots to get back to, and I don't need to be spoiled again. I just want to get back to looking forward to Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, football, They're going to be entertaining. They're going to be competitive. They're in the mix. They're not, in the mix for the number 2 pick. They're in the mix. Oh, yeah. Give me 8 and 6 where you're like, yeah, well, maybe see how things go
Hey,
down.
maybe you never know. You never
Right.
know.
So, like, this has really started to annoy me. This idea that if you're loyal to the Patriots, you're disloyal to Belichick. Okay, then that's what I choose, because I will choose Patriots over person every single time.
This is probably my favorite rant of yours to date because it aligns. It's rocks. I was thinking as you were doing that, like, now is he warming this up for a hit on Gresham Fourier? Is this TV prep? Is this like we just? But as I jest with a little jaded sarcasm there in between, you believe it or not, even from the old Foxborough fanboy, old jester on the jumbotron here, as loyal as I am to the organization as well, the same team I've been rooting for, my favorite of all the Boston sports teams, my entire existence. I'm a Patriots fan as well. And that's the thing. You started with Tom Brady. You've never, no. I have been watching and rooting for, living and dying by this team my entire life. This is one of the things that I've enjoyed is only as much maybe as like Star Wars and some of the other things that I've loved. Batman, like all the things that I loved as a kid that I continue to love as an adult because I don't plan on growing up anytime soon. I'm a Toys R Us kid and a Patriots fan. But
this is the only thing you love that's real.
Yeah. It's still real to me, damn it. But like, my God, for people to say that thinking that Bill Belichick's time may have come to a close here, meaning you're not loyal to he isn't. I'm so glad you said that. He's not bigger than Pat the Patriots, not bigger than the Flying Elvis. He is not bigger than the stadium. He is not bigger than the brand. Yes, he's been a massive contributor to it as well. But our loyalty to what the Patriots are was ultimately tested in March of 2020. The majority of us, people could still root for and be happy with Tom and root for the Patriots. Those two things can be true at the same time, and a lot of us found out that was the case. I had a hard time rooting for Brady. I don't love necessarily some of the reactions and takes and spins that I had at the time because I was hurt. I was disappointed. I was really bummed out because there went my single favorite popular fiction, pop culture character, athlete, patriot, a quarterback, whatever of all time. And we stuck with Belichick. A lot of us stuck around with the organization. We were forced to stick with Belichick. We chose Patriots. Well, now we would just like to choose Patriots and their success above everything else. So people that say you're not being loyal to Belichick means you're not loyal to the organization. Sorry. Hard disagree. Kick rocks. And, Edelman himself said Belichick, well, yeah, they'll turn on him. He said he would not be surprised if Belichick is not with the team. He would also not be surprised if he's back as well.
So he said nothing.
Said a whole lot. Said it on Tom Curran's podcast. Said it at the Encore the other night. It's the one thing he did say though. It's a performance and results based league, and if performance and results are what the Kraft family ultimately bases their decision on, then maybe it is very much time to move on. All right, let's get to a couple of the other things there. End rant, but I feel better now that you got us into that. So Cole Strange will not be coming to practice or the games the rest of the season. We're not exactly sure to date what happened to his left knee, but his knee is dinged up. He has been placed on injured reserve. His 2023 season, which is a disappointment in many ways. He missed a few games earlier with an injury. He was a half yard short week 2 against the Dolphins when Gesicki lateraled the ball back to him. Like, that's a disappointing sophomore season in what has been a disappointing career to date.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't get the pick when it happened, and now a couple years later don't really get the pick. And I know there was the talk of, well, he was brought in to be a zone running back with everything they were going to do a zone blocker, everything they were going to do under Matt Patricia and that streamlined system and the 49ers stretch plays. And now they've gone back to some of their more traditional runs and he doesn't fit it, or bad matchups. Oh, Quinnen Williams is good. Like, it's a disappointing pick. There's no way around it. I know Belichick had said he thought Cole was playing his best football of his career when he got hurt. And that may be. But are you getting first round value? Are you getting a foundational performance type value out of him? I would say no. But he'll be back next year as part, that's the one thing. We had a lot of questions about who'll be back. Cole Strange will be back next year. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. So long as the rehab, if it's possibly a torn ligament in his knee. And I think a lot of us were speculating the way that he went down. Knee's not supposed to bend that way. That looked awfully painful. And sorry to see it go down that way. Yes, not the best pick. No, not the best career to date, but you never want to see someone get hurt like that. Speaking of somebody else that you're not sure if you're going to see in a Patriots uniform again, or even in this next particular game, J.C. Jackson. Now, much was made over Bill Belichick's comments post-game as Mike Reese asked him what happened to J.C. Jackson. He was active, then he didn't play. He was unavailable. Yeah, but why was he made active if he was going to, like, let's put it this way, he was unavailable. We come to find out after the game, as you and I were in the middle of our post-game show, that J.C. Jackson, via a tweet from Adam Schefter, has been dealing with some mental health issues, according to his agent. This can be now very tricky for the Patriots and for Bill Belichick to handle. If he's having an issue, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but we have to prioritize, and I personally do as well, mental health in the modern age and just overall. Do you give him, like, is there a special exemption that the NFL provides? Would he have to be placed on injured reserve, or like, could it be like the non-football injury list, Andy? How do they handle this?
I think non-football injury list is an option. Some list that I may not even be aware of. You're right. There may be a CBA sort of mental health list.
There's like a paternity and a bereavement list, sort of, I think, still, right?
Something. My guess is you won't see him again this season because he's proven, for whatever it is, fair, not unfair, unreliable, whether it's late to the hotel, mental health, different things. I know Matthew Slater, I would urge anybody, shocker here, Matthew Slater had some really impressive comments about JC in this situation, because Matthew Slater is maybe the greatest spokesman, talker, whatever. There's an example, by the way. Bill thinks people are going to turn on him. Matthew Slater could intentionally tackle his own punt returner 10 times in a row, and I'll never turn on him, because Matthew Slater is one of the most professional people I've ever seen in the entirety of my life. So Bill, don't pretend everybody turns on you in the end. Some of it is brought upon yourself with the way you treat people and the way you act and the way you handle yourself. But Matthew Slater had some really impressive comments about, what the hell does he call him? He calls him by his real first name. He doesn't even call him JC.
Is it Justin?
No, it's not Justin, but whatever. And I'm guessing you won't see JC again. This hasn't worked out, and I don't know the details. I don't really need to know the details. I know this. As I said, you can't rely on him, and that's the job. I need him on the football field, and if I can't, I'm not, I'll just put him on whatever list and move on, and Alex Austin will get his chances, and other guys will get their chances.
Oh boy, the cornerback position. Whoever thought it would have gone down like this? J.C. Jackson. Yeah. Oh, that's right. The guy who said it was a house of cards.
House of cards. It's weird.
Yeah.
And the wind started blowing.
Heart of cards. Exactly. Funny how that worked out, huh? All right there, Pat Stradamus. You can take a point for yourself there. Hey, Andy, what did we think about? We mentioned Pop Douglas earlier in the first leg as we were talking about. Actually, it was an incidental mention, but we were talking off air about Pop Douglas. We don't usually comment on fashion here on the Six Rings and Football Things podcast. Pop Douglas wore a Pop Douglas sweatshirt into the game on Sunday. The Patriots often tweet out, check out the fit, who's got the best outfit. It's been a big thing. Right before they started doing it, usually it was like sponsored by Delta or something, like away game, and like here's what everyone's wearing. Brady would be in some $10,000 Zania suit. Then we got to see Cam Newton's outfits and the big hats. Pop Douglas was wearing a sweatshirt, custom screen printed, that had 3 different images of Pop Douglas on it. A curious choice.
Cool sweatshirt if his mother or his brother or his dad, uncle, best friend, wife, pretty much anybody not named Pop Douglas, if they wear this sweatshirt, I think it's cool. When he wears it,
wear yourself, just like you don't give yourself a nickname.
Right. It's pretty lame. It's a curious. Now, we are opening ourselves up to, like, his mother died, and the last thing she said is, please wear this sweatshirt to the game, Pop. And okay, if I come to find that out, I'll have egg on my face. Otherwise, It's a terrible look.
So strange. What an odd thing to do. But hey, again, just 2023 NFL, 2023 Patriots. It gives 0 Fs and anything is possible. And lastly, the Patriots have a new third string quarterback. Will Grier, claimed by the Chargers, which means maybe
the Patriots don't have good quarterbacks, by the way. Teams are just plucking them left and right. Teams want their quarterbacks.
I know their quarterback. Exactly. Malik Cunningham to the Ravens. Will Grier out to the Chargers. Their quarterback, everything Chargers is a mess. Hey, have fun with that next year, Bill. If that comes to be, we don't know anything.
You hater. I knew you'd turn on
being a hater.
You're a fraud. You pink hat.
It's actually a red hat. I'm wearing a Santa hat right now, trying to put a little seasonal joy into the podcast. Nathan Rourke. Now, I had never even heard of this guy. He was on the Jacksonville Jaguars practice squad, plucked by the Pats to be their third stringer. Who knows if he'll see the field? I'd be curious, honestly, just the same way that I wanted to see Will Grier, and maybe you'll see him out in Los San Diego because Easton Stick, all these guys are dinged up, and what a mess that is. Do you know anything about Nathan Rourke aside from the fact that all I keep reading or hearing is like, he was a Canadian Football League superstar, eh?
I don't know if he was a superstar. He was like the best, most valuable Canadian in the Canadian Football League or something like that. But yeah, that's his claim to fame. That is, and no, I don't know much about him. I've learned to not learn these people like Ian Book and Matt Corral and Will Grier, and they can come through Foxborough. And if they ever step on the field, that's when I'll choose to invest time in learning them. Otherwise, I think he's a spot filler on a depth chart.
Yeah. And also usually really good football teams don't make 20 plus quarterback transactions. And now granted, this is all you can say, yeah, but Fitzy, look, the Vikings have had 4 quarterbacks. The Browns have had 4 quarterbacks. Look what old man Flacco is doing for them. Having an injured quarterback is not an excuse in 2023 NFL. It's a reality that pretty much every team has to and needs to deal with. So the Jets, they don't have any excuses. A lot of teams are losing quarterbacks, having issues with offensive talent, and still finding ways to win football games. Same goes with the New England Patriots as well, who obviously were not prepared and just flat out don't have enough talent as well. He is a native Canadian as well.
From where?
Spent what's that? He's from Victoria, British Columbia.
Oh.
He spent 1 season at Fort Scott, where he was named All KJCCC, then transferred to the Ohio University,
Ohio State,
where he started quarterback for 3 years for the Bobcats. Rourke led Ohio to a 25-14 overall record, starting QB for the Bobcats, while leading the team to 3 consecutive bowl victories in the 2017 Bahamas Bowl, 2018 Frisco Bowl, and that's right, Andy, the 2020 famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
I'm ready. So I was just thinking, if this was training camp and they signed him, we'd call him a camp body. Mm-hmm. So do we call him a season body? Like, what's the in-season version of a camp body? Because I feel like that's what he is.
Yeah, that's
season body.
It's a great. He's had a bunch of NFL workouts. He has had tryouts with the Raiders, the Jags, the Broncos, the Colts, the Buccaneers, the Cardinals, and the Vikings. He actually the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Giants, and the Browns.
He's got a sweet closet full of like workout clothes. I bet every honestly, NFL team.
He is the town. Wow, his name is Town Bike. Holy smokes! Everyone goes for a ride with Nathan Rourke. It was with the Jags on their practice squad. Actually signed to the active roster December 9th, released on the 16th. 2 days later, claimed off waivers by the New England Patriots as Will Grier signed with the Chargers. There you go. There is literally the Wikipedia that you could have read for yourself on Nathan Rourke. All right. I'm not in the business of betting you on beers anymore because I've lost enough. Does Nathan Rourke throw a pass for the Patriots this season?
No. 3 games to go. Bailey Zappi seems relatively durable. Sorry, Bailey, if I jinxed you, knock on wood. I do not think we see Rourke throw a pass. I don't want to see Rourke throw a pass. That's just part of this story that I don't need. Mm-hmm. Speaking of quarterbacks, though, can I go from the least notable quarterback in Patriots history, potentially? What was his first name again? Rourke?
Nathan Rourke.
Nathan. I forgot his first name already. Nathan Rourke to Thomas Brady. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to say, for the first time in forever,
that almost cost us.
I'm aligned with Tom Brady and his reaction to the Kazee suspension. Yes, indefinite suspension. And now he's a little snooty in the way he says it's on quarterbacks. You can't throw that ball. You can't put your receiver in harm's way.
The hospital ball that Gardner Minshew threw to Michael Pittman. Now Indianapolis is a place made famous for hospital balls. Peyton Manning.
Yeah, so is New England. Go back and watch. Everybody used to say Manning did it. Brady did it just as often, and his high horse is a little too high for my liking. But the truth of the matter is he's right about we can't just keep blaming defensive players for everything and getting rid of defensive players. What was that guy supposed to do? I literally ask that question. It's ugly. I'm not going to deny that it's ugly.
Did he launch? But did he? I mean, he's suspended indefinitely, or at least for the remainder of the regular season.
Just let him catch it. Is that the point where we've gotten to? Because it could go to the current high school NFHS rule. Current high school NFHS rule is you cannot hit a receiver who is defenseless at all. You can't hit
Yep.
him in the hip, the rib, anywhere. You cannot hit him. You can wrap him up. You can deflect the
Oh,
ball, but you cannot actually hit him. Is that what we want to go to? Because if Kazee just stands there, let's just say he just stands there and Pittman dives. So is he going to just like let him dive into his knees? Like, can't defend. And everybody will say he launched himself. I continue to always say, when you try to hit somebody with your shoulder pad, what's attached to your shoulder pad? Your head. Your head goes too. Like it is inherently a straight line muscular, made up that word, missile killer, muscular alignment. And and if you wanted to suspend him just because it is contact to a defenseless receiver for a game, but to treat him like he's Draymond Green and that he's done these things over and over again and like that he did something really outside the game of football. No, the game of football is archaic and barbaric. And if you're going to allow defenders to defend themselves and to hit, you're going to get these plays every once in a while that look really bad. I'm going to say
I think it's a good. I think it's really worthy of a like an open-minded and educated debate, like without people flying in like Damontae Kazee for a hot take or a hard hit. I agree. I don't think it's as black and white as you said. Now, Brady's comments, QB should not be throwing the ball in areas where they're exposing their own teammates to these types of hits. Coaches need to coach better. QBs need to read coverages and throw the ball to the right places, and defenders should aim for the right hitting areas. To put the blame on the defensive player all the time is just flat out wrong. Okay, I get that. No, he is right, but still, then you have to look at this particular play. Now, this is funny too. Somebody at the Ben Sauce _ on Twitter, he quotes John Runyon from the NFL in the suspension letter to Damontae Kazee. The video of the play shows that you delivered a forcible blow to the head neck area of Colts receiver, who was in a defenseless posture. You had an unobstructed path to your opponent, and the illegal contact could have been avoided. I do agree with that. And then somebody tweets out John Runyon, then with the Eagles running over to a scrum and launching himself helmet first into a pile just because he was pissed at a San Francisco defender.
Right.
Football players make football plays. It's not okay, but at the same time, yeah, it's a tough one, Andy. Like rewatching it in slow-mo is awful. Yes, he obviously wants to try to stop him from making the play. But at the same time, let's see, I agree or disagree with Matt Adams' take because he hit directly through the football with his head turned and forced an incompletion. Nice play. The QB put the wide receiver in physical danger, not the defender. What the NFL is saying here is if a QB puts a wide receiver in an exposed defenseless position without possession, you must let him catch it. Doing your job is unnecessary. And see, yeah, it's football players get it. Yeah.
I rarely he has, and the thing that's not ever taken into account, even by ex-players who are in these disciplined positions, is the speed. Kazee is making a decision in a millisecond, and he's been trained for 20-something years to break up the pass, stop the completion, stop that guy. That's your job. And he makes a decision. The NFL wants him to let that guy catch the ball. That's basically where we've gone, is you have to allow that guy to catch that ball, which is not what football was. It's where it's going, and you know my feelings. I truly believe, not a hot take here, truly believe we're going to be in flag football within 40 years or so, 30 years or so. It's coming post-Olympics and that weather test balloon of the Olympic Games and Tyreek Hill, and see how that, because Brady, I give Brady credit for this, though, like acknowledging if we want football to exist, and I think Tom Brady loves football. I think he loves real football. And if we want real football to exist, well, I think Tom Brady could have been fine in flag football. He could just stand back there and pick apart a 7-on-7 defense, like with the best of them. But the fact that he really loves what football actually is, the physicality of it, the nature of it, he knows defenders they're defenseless right now. They keep getting just chopped down to the point where
harder and harder and harder. Yeah.
You can't do your job. And it's it's so infuriating if you have any sort of a defensive mindset and if you like the game of football. And, because the old school days, your job was to get the other guy on the ground, really any way you could, any way you had to. And now we're going towards, well, you better think real quick at whether you're allowed to hit him in the position he's in. And I just hate that.
Yeah, with that split second on the field where your salary, your team's future, your bonus, everything is at, It is a tough one. It's definitely a pickle. You hate to see someone get hit like that. You can't imagine that the guy was literally headhunting or like, I know what I'm going to do. Hurt this person, or I'm going to try to deliver a cranial or spinal injury to him. Like,
There was
but at
no
the
way for him to hit him without hitting him in a way that some people are going to see as dirty and cheap. And it like
right. You
there
just have
was
to let him make the catch until the rules are changed otherwise.
right. And that's what's going to happen because we're so used to, like with quarterbacks now, like the strike zone. You can't hit him up here. You can't hit it. There was no strike zone for Kazid. Like there was no place to deliver a blow or impact the play without people thinking he's dirty or calling for him to be, ejected and targeting and all these. Like it just, and
I
that's
can't speak to his history. Yeah, you're right. I
So you
can't
need
speak
to
to his
rewire.
history, though.
The league is trying to rewire these guys to say, don't hit him. When in doubt, don't hit him. When in doubt, don't hit him.
Yeah.
And if you go to a world where defenders are taught when in doubt, don't hit him, well, offense will be on the rise and plays, and you'll be, why didn't you tackle him? Well, because you taught me when in doubt, don't hit him. That's the world we're going down.
Indeed. Food for thought and a debate worth continuing, and I'm sure we'll probably get back to it at some point again in the long off season to come. 3 games to not glory, more 3 games to who knows what in this Patriots season. We'll be back in a couple of days to preview Patriots Broncos. We'll also give you our FanDuel Sportsbook Bet of the Week. Mike Cadlick will join Andy for Cadlick's Crucial Clashes. We'll do our best. That's all we can promise, folks. Until then and forevermore, good job, Terp. Good job, Hart. Okay, by me. This has been Six Rings and Football Things brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel, make every moment more. Sign up today at FanDuel.com/6rings. We've been brought to you by WEEI, Odyssey, and 2400 Sports. For the entire gang here around the holidays, take care of each other, folks. Have the very merriest and the holly jolliest. We'll talk to you soon. Good day. God bless. Go Pats.